You are listening to Insights from the Conference Board.
My name is Sanja Haas. I'm the Human Capital Center's Chairwoman at the Conference Board in Europe. It's a pleasure to welcome you to this edition of Inspiring People, Inspiring Journeys, a series brought to you by the Conference Board. In each episode, I sit down with a new C-suite executive, and together we have a conversation around what helped them transition into their current role, their tips for navigating this incredibly complex and demanding career landscape of today, and what they consider the key ingredients for success in their role. Today, I will be sitting down with Khadija Ben Hammada, CHRO at Merck, to discuss her professional journey, which we hope will help our listeners gain better insights into what is needed or not to have a fulfilling business and HR career journey. A very warm welcome to you, Khadija. Hello.
Hello, Sanya. Very nice to be with you today.
Hello, welcome. So let me start by asking you what I always ask my guests. What business are you in? And can you share one insight about your company which is not common knowledge?
Sure, happy to do so. So, at Merck, we are a leading science and technology company, and we operate across three sectors: a life science one, a healthcare one, and electronics. To put it very simple, Sanya, what we do is contributing to drive human progress. We improve life around us, around science, and around technologies. To give you a little bit more of the background, our business involves in everything from providing products and services that accelerate drug development and manufacturing for patients. We also discover unique ways to treat the most challenging disease or pandemic, and we enable the intelligence of device. So Merck is a company that has been around for more than 352 years. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
And something that is not common knowledge, and I want to share that with you, is I think a lot of people are, let's say, aware of Merck because our group CEO is a woman. Her name is Belén Carrijo, and we heard a lot of word around her nomination a couple of years ago. But the little fun fact to know is that we consider that we already had in the past a female CEO. Her name was Adelaide Merck, and she was the first female CEO at 34 years old, and it was around 1805. So you can imagine how far and how long it was. She became a widow and a single mom of three. And you imagine at that time, she took over the responsibility of the pharmacy in the family's hand, and she successfully drove that business to a very family wealth, well thought and out financial strategy by cultivating numerous contacts and including international ones. So very, very early, Merck was a pioneer of having female CEO. And that's something that very, very few people know. And I found that always very interesting to share.
That's incredibly interesting. Thanks so much for sharing that. I really didn't know, and I'm convinced that many of our listeners didn't either, and very inspiring as well. Thank you so much. Now, reverting back to you and your role, could you tell me a little bit about what's it like to be a CHRO?
So, being a chief HR officer is, first of all, a privilege that comes with responsibility. I think it's a privilege because you are in the science and tech business, but you're also in the people business. So, I have this, let's say, dual responsibility of driving the business, helping, making sure that we support our business to thrive because what we do is impacting life of people around us. At
Mm-hmm.
the same time, as the human function, we are the people's people. We are the guardian or the custodian of integrity, of fairness, of inclusion. And I found that being a privilege because you have the best of both worlds. You have to deliver high impact to really drive our new product and support patients and customer to be able to try for their own business. At the same time, you have to take care of 66,000 employees and making sure that you create a workforce that is fair,
Mm-hmm.
where equity is part of the DNA and where everyone feels a sense of belonging at Merck. And when you have 352 years of legacy behind you, it's something to really continue to pass on to the next generation. So I feel it's being a privilege coming with responsibility to make an impact, to also manage a large breadth of scope, balancing priorities, short-term and long-term priorities. And that make me very, very proud to be part of such a company and really drive the people agenda.
Thank you. That's very, very interesting, and it sort of leads me into the next question, because the whole point about being a CHRO in your role is also understanding how you got there. And one of the key questions that our listeners will have is, is this your first CHRO role, or did you have a previous one? And if you can dial back a bit to your first 100 days, if you could tell us a bit about how they were. So, yeah, could you share a bit? Is this your first role as a chief HR officer, or have you been a CHRO before?
Sure, I think it's my first time as chief HR officer, and
Hmm.
it's also my first time of being a mom. So interesting enough, Sanya as well. I got the job, and I've been part of the interview process because we do the right thing at Merck. We look at always the best candidates. So they put myself into the interview process, which was the right thing to do, says an HR professional here. But I was also pregnant at that time, and some people were okay. I was thinking, how will I manage both? And I was okay. Maybe I won't get one of those at the end. Maybe I won't be selected. And actually, I got both. So,
Wow.
as much as I became chief HR officer, I also became a mom. So you can imagine that it's a ride. But again, when you are blessed, you cannot complain. I'm blessed of becoming a mom, and I'm also blessed and very honored to lead that organization. The first thing I will say to people listening to us, Sanya, is don't plan to become a chief HR officer if you want to become a chief HR officer.
Hmm.
And why I'm saying that is, as much as I believe in career development, in growth, I also think we should not be obsessed with
Hmm.
always the next step. For me, what has worked quite well, and the advice I always give to people who want to listen or to get my perspective, is focus on the impact you generate first. Focus on the learning you will get out of that experience, and pick a boss that will have your back and that you really feel inspired to work for. And then naturally, when you deliver, when you are consistent in your performance, when you say yes as much as possible, when you expand your horizon, that's how the next job is coming. Of course, it's important to have a vision. I knew I wanted to be in HR because I really love the people topic. I know I also want to make an impact for our
Hmm.
organization. But I was never, let's say, hung up towards a certain title or status. My legacy was always, and my aspiration is to leave a legacy behind me, to get people with me, to make an impact for the customer we serve, for the employee we serve. And then naturally, by having that, hunger to do more, to take more, to impact more, I think this has been seen, hopefully,
Hmm.
by the right people. And that's how I basically got more and more responsibilities step by step. I really
Hmm.
had developed several steps before becoming a chief HR officer, again, without having a deep, deep obsession to become chief HR officer, but by being really obsessed in delivering the highest impact.
Thank you. And first of all, before I continue with my questioning, congratulations to your baby. That's amazing. That's so
Thank you.
impressive. Wow. I'm learning a lot today, Khadija. So let's keep on talking. Um, you said focus on impact, learning, pick that boss. Don't be hung up. Was there anything else that helped you transition into your current role?
I think what's really helped me to transition to role was also to move, to not be on my comfort zone. I mean,
Hmm.
I like to say courage over comfort zone, so the C over C. And I think the sooner you do, the better. I always, sometimes it's uncomfortable for you, but I always felt that you are never by yourself. So very early, I went to the US and I had no clue on what to expect. And I had one of the most inspiring experience. Then they proposed me Asia as well, and I just say yes. That's what I meant, and yeah, say yes as much as possible without knowing what to expect.
Yeah.
Because when you basically make that step and take yourself out of your comfort zone, First of all, you're never alone. You always have people around you who will help you, who will cheer you up, who will be your backup and support you. And that really you develop a certain agility, a certain flexibility. So I will say those steps, Sanya, has really helped me to become the chief HR officer that I am today. And also to, again, to not have maybe a very, let's say, straightforward career, but to expand my horizon. When I was asked to do a special project on business and on China, I also said yes, because I knew I will be learning something. When they proposed me to take an assignment in the business without also knowing what will be coming next, I said yes, because I knew that whatever I do, it will be an asset for me. So taking yourself out of a comfort zone when you have the opportunity to do it, because I was single, I was capable to move. I think it's something that also helped me. Today, I have developed a very, very strong cultural savviness. When I talk to people in Japan, I've been there, I've seen there, I understand it. Same in US, and that give me also um, uh, so many good memories. So in addition of becoming the leader that I became thanks to that, I am fulfilled with a lot of emotion that I will always cherish with me.
Thank you for sharing that. Those are truly fantastic tips, and I think also very inspirational, especially on the part of stretching out of the comfort zone, the cultural savviness. How you, I could just imagine how you traveled the world and went into new horizons. If we dial a bit back, and looking back at your professional journey when it started, apart from the very interesting tips you already mentioned and insights, is there anything else you can share with our um, listeners in terms of what were your formative milestones throughout your career? Any ingredients for success? I mean, clearly you've told us a lot already, but anything else if we dial way back when you started working and move up to today?
Sure. I think what is also important to also link that back with the future of HR. I mean, in the past, many
Hmm.
people believe that everyone can do HR. And I heavily disagree with that. First of all, you need to have a passion for such role, but you also need to develop some skills and some expertise. And what I also have done in my career is, of course, be out of my comfort zone and discover different horizon from a geography point of view, but also from a skill set and expertise. I really have worked in talent acquisition, in talent management, as a business partner, in org development. And I think building that expertise and skill sets, I think, are absolutely important. I mean, I think I have seen every spectrum, the large spectrum of people topic except rewards. And today, what I do, I hire a strong person around compensation and
Yeah.
benefit, because that's the only step I haven't done. So I think also
Hmm.
building a curriculum of skill set of expertise is absolutely important, because this is a job of expertise. This is a function of strengths, and you need to be capable to say, I have done it, I have seen it, I know and I understand the mechanism and the technicality of the role. And if you compare yourself to a function like finance, I mean, they also have like P&L and tax, etc. So I think there is also science behind HR and skills and tech that we need to be able to train our people. And that would be maybe my other tip is really to invite our listener to really expand their horizon, but also to build a passport or skill set towards the function.
It's thank you for reminding us of that, because it also definitely resonates with today's skills focused economy and the thought of having different experiences as opposed to classical career journeys. But clearly, this is something we can all think about at every moment of our career. So that's very insightful. And in terms of people, persons, roles, is there anybody where you say this person or this role really inspired and supported you in your professional journey?
I mean, many people have inspired me and continue to inspire me. I have people in my team. I have people with whom I work, but I will probably pick maybe someone that has been always symbolic, and it's my mother. And why she has inspired me, is because she always helped me to stay grounded. You know, when you do what you do, and you know you are exposed to the executive board, and you work with CEOs, and you connect people at the highest level with the government, etc. When I go back home and then there is milk missing in the fridge, I go to the grocery and I do it if I have to help my mom. And when I was traveling, a little anecdote, Sanya,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom, I tried to explain to my mom what I was doing as the head of HR. She was telling me, make sure that you pay people properly on time. And I was telling her, but I do more than just paying people.
Yeah.
But for her, it was really making sure that you are taking care as a nature. It's really about taking care about the people, making sure that we fix the basics. And she
Yeah.
always has been an inspiration for me to stay humble,
Mm-hmm.
to have a strong sense of responsibility, to have a high sense of integrity, to do the first things first, as I mentioned, and to always give back. And I think those, in my humble view, are the ingredients for being successful in a people function like ours. And then obviously our group CEO Belen Carrijo also and the executive board have put a lot of trust in me. And
Mm-hmm.
what I always will be grateful for is when people see potential in yourself before you are capable to see it. And I think it tells a lot about our group CEO. And I mean, those will be probably great inspiration. And of course, many others like Satya Nadella and the good work he does in cultural transformation. But just to pick few and share why I pick them.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for giving back to all of us through this interview. It's very inspirational to hear you speak, Khadija. Um, when we look at, I have two more questions on organizations, and then I'd like to look ahead. But when we look at organizations and we move to this idea of organizations need to help HR leaders transition to senior executive roles, what else must we do? What else do organizations have to focus and invest in to really help people come to very senior roles like your own?
I mean, first, I think we need to really invest in our people. I think we really need to
Mm-hmm.
have a much more skills mindset. I think in the past we are looking at, we have an open position, we have a job desk, and we have an employee that can fill that. Right now, we
Yeah.
really need to split that into what are the skills of the future that I need, and really not talking about people but really skills, and how do we get those skills. I really think in terms of, let's say, high talent retention and complexity, and in a post-COVID world, I think also creating a sense of belonging and a safe environment. I think
Mm-hmm.
that will be something we need really to help leader to transition. We have seen many leaders not being equipped to lead towards the pandemic. We have seen a lot of leaders not being equipped to basically thrive in a very complex environment. No one was expecting the war, no one was expecting the recession we are, and we are just basically sometimes leaving our leaders by themselves. And leaders is also something, it's a destination.
Mm-hmm.
We are not born ready. And I think helping them to get there is absolutely important. And I think coming back to some fundamental as leading in a trust environment, creating a safe environment, creating a culture of feedback and authenticity where people can be themselves, is something that we need to help leader to transition. There is also a lot of pressure going on amongst many companies because of the macroeconomic and the economy around us. So
Mm.
how do we bring them back to the fundamental of humanity, the fundamental of trust, the fundamental of integrity? Because in time of difficulty, that's what matter the most. And if you look at the next generation, that's also what is important for them. So
Mm-hmm.
bringing back, I will say, the how as important as the what.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's something that is important. And Sanya, maybe I close with that on that question is, I quite often say to my team, I would like to lead with empathy, and I don't see that you cannot pursue very tough target and goals and not have compassion and conviction. I think those can come together. You can have high standard, and you also can really manage the how as equally important than the what.
Mm-hmm. That's music to my ears. Thank you, because we've been of course looking a lot at how organizations are developing. Also, what you were saying about the skill set, but definitely about the empathy and what I guess we would call soft skills or the human skills, and looking at the development, particularly of AI and technology today, that is not just the differentiator today, but also tomorrow, having that humanity. So thank
And
you for sharing.
Sanya,
Yeah.
if I can add, I will say that the soft skills are the new hard skills.
Yes, yes, yes. And they are hard.
And they are
It's
very
not,
hard.
yes, it's very hard. So it's not to be taken for granted, that we can all do that. So having role models like yourself is definitely helps. And is there anything else you would give our, especially our younger talent, coming up the HR pipeline? Any other advice? Any do's? Any don'ts?
I mean, I will say, first of all, only do. Just do
Mm-hmm.
as much as possible. Say yes as much as possible. Go out of your comfort zone. Try creative way. Embrace new things. I really think that the best is yet to come when you are early in your career and you can really explore. I really like to absorb as much as possible. So I will say, do as much as possible.
Mm.
Don't hang up on status, or let's say, or title, or let's say, privilege. It's all about, building up some assets. And I know what I'm talking about, because there will be absolutely a huge return of investment. So I will say, do as much as you can. Say yes as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Learn from each other, but don't forget to give back at some point, because it's important that we help each other no matter what happened to us.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Fantastic tips for our younger generations, and looking also at just a recent survey we did on particularly Gen Z. That is probably also music to their ears, because that's what they want to do, and that's what they also say that is their intent to give back and to have a purposeful career. So fantastic. A couple of more questions about the future before we end this very interesting interview. How do you see the future of the function? Anything that you've sort of seen for yourself that you say, in 5 or 10 years, this is where HR will be?
I think HR has definitely a bright future,
Mm-hmm.
to say the least. We see more and more people coming from the business being interesting to join the HR function for a couple of reasons. And in the past, you have seen many CFO becoming CEO, and I think the next big thing is probably leader who has huge experience around the people, like chief HR officer, maybe becoming CEO. And I
Mm.
really think that is absolutely a trend, hopefully to be seen, because again, in the environment of today, leading with empathy, having the ability to really achieve high standard but not compromise on the how, is something that is absolutely critical, and not many function can do that. And I think HR has definitely that opportunity. I think HR will continue to have a strong voice at the table, could be always a good challenger to the business, to the
Mm-hmm.
organization, because HR is capable to bring the best out of our people. And that is what will always make a difference for any organization. HR will definitely continue to evolve in a much more, let's say, digital way and data way.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we are looking at how AI is going to impact our function, but not in taking over any specific job, but how do we accelerate some tasks so we can really focus on more strategic tasks. So I think being much more digital data driven is the future of HR, being much more integrated into the business as well, being a true business leader capable to talk about P&L, EBITDA, return of investment, is something that we will see much more. Being a true business leader that really contributes to the customer and to the final patient that we serve. And last but not least, really looking at a much more integrated way to look at the employee experience journey. How do we
Mm-hmm.
make sure that the moment that matter for our employee, from day one, even before day one, when we introduce them to maybe their last day, is a meaningful and impactful experience, is where I think HR will continue to strengthen and to support.
Wonderful. And as you said, putting all of that together and bringing what we bring to the table, I do also envisage that we will see more CEOs in the future. So that's fantastic, especially as you said, focusing on the how, which will become even more important, and that's part of the employee experience equation as well. Um, Thank you so much, Khadija. Any final thoughts? We're at the end of a very interesting half an hour, and I could talk to you for hours, but very conscious of the time. Any final thoughts from your end?
No, I think it was a very enjoyable conversation. Thank you so much for what you do, Sanya, also to really put some spotlight on our function. I always
Thank you.
say to my team, what really gets me every morning is the impact we create. And I really
Hmm.
like being, to a certain extent, behind the scene and support the people we serve, our customer, patient, our employees. And the fact that you are taking out of your role the time also to spotlight what we do, to give us a voice as well, is absolutely inspirational, and also help to motivate the next generation. I really adore what I do. I do what I
Mm,
adore, and hopefully we can continue to pass that energy and passion to whoever wants to listen to us, because it's a great function, and we can really make a great impact for everyone around us.
that's wonderful. Thank you, Khadija. Once again, so inspirational, so energizing, so insightful. I learned more than I thought I would today, and I'm convinced our audience did as well. And I hope they also helped them to think about their own current and future career journeys and what to do about that. And thank you to our audience who tuned into this podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please remember to subscribe to our Insights podcast series or explore the entire catalog podcast programming from the conference board on our website.
This has been Insights from the Conference Board.